I've been told before that I'm brave and very courageous for the things that I've done in my life. And I like to tell people that I don't think it's about bravery or courage, but rather it's about love. When you go forward in life in love, there's this thing that happens with fear. It just kind of like dispels.
Welcome to the Well with Cannabis podcast, a show dedicated to telling the life-changing stories of those who live well with cannabis, all while teaching you how to do the same. Meet your host, Emily Kyle, a registered dietitian nutritionist turned certified holistic cannabis practitioner. Emily changed her life for the better with the help of the cannabis plant, and now she is committed to helping others do the same. Tune in each week to hear heartwarming stories and gain the knowledge you need to feel connected, inspired, and supported on your own cannabis journey. Whether you're a new cannabis consumer or a lifetime lover, you'll benefit from these uplifting tales of real-life journeys that will show you how you too can live your best life well with cannabis.
Before we jump into today's episode, I wanted to share a note on potentially sensitive content. The episodes on the Well with Cannabis podcast are created for adult audiences only. We will at times cover sensitive topics including, but not limited to, suicide, abuse, mental illness, sex, drugs, alcohol, psychedelics, and the obvious use of plant medicine. Explicit language may be used occasionally. Please refrain from watching or listening to the show if you're likely to be offended or adversely impacted by any of these topics. The information on this show is for informational and educational purposes only. It does not constitute medical advice. If any of the content on this podcast has brought up anything for you, please reach out or speak to a professional or someone you trust. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Well with Cannabis podcast. And I'm so excited to be here with our wonderful guest today, Miss Lenor Rivera. Hi, how are you? And thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. This is a wonderful, wonderful thing you're doing.
Thank you. And you have an amazing story to tell and quite a detailed one. So I am ready to hear all of the wisdom. How did you get here today? What led you to cannabis?
Okay. So, oh, goodness gracious. All right. So I had gotten hit with a chronic pain condition in my 30s, went into remission in my early 40s. I would say about 6 years I struggled with it.
Oh.
When I was 54, I got hit with some blood clots in my leg and found out about a genetic blood disorder. The same year, I had to have surgery to have my gallbladder removed. And apparently this triggered this pain response in my body again.
Oh, no.
From my 30s, like that had gone away, lived my life, all of that. So I found myself in this chronic pain and fatigue state. Inflammation was way off the charts. I would test for lupus, RA, lupus, positive, one test, the secondary test they do, negative. My doctor said, he just doesn't know. He knows it's there. He doesn't know what it's about. So that was my rheumatologist, 85-year-old rheumatologist that had been my doctor all through these years. Loved him dearly, like an uncle. So what happens is I end up losing this dream job I had, which was a construction director for a nonprofit. So it combined my construction skills with my heart. And that's why I say my dream job. I had the job for about 9 months, but this pain condition and this fatigue was really affecting my abilities there. And my CEO asked me to resign. And rightfully I did, because I could no longer do the work that I was hired to do. So that was a really sad thing that occurred in my life. I took a lot of my identity from my work.
Yeah.
And so I started this journey of just managing pain and doing the gamut of doctors, one after another after another. And this went on for years. I was on prednisone and an anti-seizure medication that they mix with that for pain, for the anti-seizure for 11 years, but the prednisone 3 years. It was destroying my body. And I still had no life. I was like homebound, shut in, managing pain all day. And I went from being this like incredibly competent person to sitting in a recliner with my arms supported managing pain. It was just horrible to have my life go to that direction. So what happened is they found this blood disorder was genetic and I need to be on blood thinners. That was one thing. I started seeing a nutritionist. I eat a vegan, whole food, plant-based diet. And so I started seeing a nutritionist, hoping that he could help me with this pain condition. He had a CBD, a hemp formula CBD he gave me. And what was amazing about that is it relieved the anxiety I had over certain things. With him, he wanted me to add some animal foods to my diet, and I didn't. I had this anxiety over what it was doing in my body, and it was just adding eggs and some fish, but I still was so.
Yeah.
It was hard, very hard for me. So what happened is, like, after one day of trying this CBD, the anxiety was gone, and I was able to eat the diet he asked me to eat to try to restore health. So that all was great. I ended up in a pain management doctor's office, and he also prescribed to me CBD to buy at a dispensary, medical marijuana, which was, again, it was wonderful because it was helping with the pain, but he wanted no THC involved. He treated drug addicts on a regular basis. His specialty was medicine, and he just felt like that was too taboo for him.
Okay.
So I just went with that. Had my CBD tincture. It seemed to help, but I was still on prednisone, anti-seizure. They had at one point prescribed like a chemo drug with no diagnosis, but thought it would help. Antidepressants, which I wouldn't take, to help manage pain. There was one point I was prescribed 15 different medications. And I'm going to say I didn't take all of them, but I did try a lot of them. It created terrible brain fog. I could no longer read. I just couldn't be myself. I could not be creative. I could only manage pain. So my husband and I moved off Long Island. You know how expensive it could be there.
Oh, yeah.
And I couldn't do it anymore with my not having my job. So we sold our house and we moved upstate New York. And I met this incredible doctor, ER doctor, who taught me, I was trying to renew my medical marijuana card in New York. This doctor instructed me how to use cannabis to the best therapeutic value for my body, how to find that level and to what to do. And he introduced THC to me, which I have not had experience with over my lifetime. So I took his advice. I was insomnia, no sleeping. Yeah. So he taught me to use the THC at night for sleeping, CBD during the day for pain. Migraines, I would have 12 to 15 migraines a month. And he taught me how to use that for migraines to manage pain. And he just taught me well. He taught me the value of having it built up in my body and not using it just as an aspirin, as I had been told before how to use it. And this made all the difference. I started sleeping at night. I felt my body healing and recovering. I got off the prednisone. As I increased the medical marijuana in my system, I was able to come off of prednisone for the first time in 3 years. My doctors and I tried to get me off of prednisone every single spring and summer, thinking increased activity would help.
Yeah.
So let's see. So he just taught me that I can't just use it like that. It has to be in the system. And that was really important for me to get the visual on what that meant. THC at night, CBD during the day. I'm functioning, living my life off of all of these medications, except for the blood thinner that I have to take.
Rightfully so.
It's a genetic disorder that triggered all this. So that was this wonderful, wonderful man and doctor. And then I also started following other community, web-based community. Can I mention a doctor's name?
Please, absolutely.
Dr. Dustin Sulak from Maine. I listen to his webinars every month, and it's just amazing the things I've learned. I'm hoping to take a certification class with him in the future, so I could really get the ins and outs of what's happening in my body. So to show you the difference, so I spent 3 years just really managing pain, to learning about this. It's probably taking about a year, getting off the medications, adding to a place where my husband and I decided it would be best for me to be out of the cold. And so we had a friend in Aruba. So we decided 2 years ago, I was going to go to Aruba for the winter, 3 months.
Oh.
I went to Aruba, and that was 2021, winter of 2021. So this is 2016 until 2020, end of 2020, that all this is going on. 2021, I went to Aruba with a walker. I was walking with a walking stick, not necessarily a cane, because that made me feel too old, but I did agree to take the walker through the airport because I was traveling alone. Mm-hmm. So I used that walker going there, started walking, was able to walk up to 5 miles a day, and swimming about an hour a day. Came back healthy, strong, just ready to live my life. It was just incredible. I left the walker there, no walking stick anymore, none of that. The last year I went again for the same amount of time, did the same thing, really boost up my body. I have learned that mild exercise, or I wouldn't call that moderate because it's not strenuous. I do it at my own pace, and the help of medical marijuana has helped me to live my life again. And so I think that's the story in a nutshell. I don't know.
The most beautiful story.
And I want everybody to know it.
Yes. People have to know that.
I was this close to using a chemo drug for pain relief, and instead went entirely other direction. And it's a miracle in my life.
Imagine if you had never met that doctor. That is so special.
Because it was giving some relief, but it wasn't helping all the way around. It wasn't that level that they talk about, that therapeutic level. And I can even understand how too much could be harmful. Yeah. So you really need to see where that is at, where it can be that for you. I did have a problem with the THC at first. It caused me incredible anxiety. I felt like I could feel the blood in my veins. It would panic me. Yeah. I didn't know what that was. My daughter actually instructed me to use CBD to counteract that. Yeah. And so now I use more 1-to-1 at night to go to sleep, maybe a little more THC than 1-to-1, but that helps get rid of that anxiety. So I know when it's too much and when it's just enough now.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, were you ever scared to try cannabis, or because your first introduction was from a doctor, did it just seem natural?
I was not worried because I had that CBD experience that alleviated anxiety. Yeah. But when I took the THC that first time, it was for a migraine. I was freaked out, and I wake up with migraines. So it was early in the morning, and I was just no, I can't do that. I didn't know what to do. I called my daughter, and she told me what to do. So that was wonderful. And now I'll tell you, I love your site. I make the gummies. I've made them about 4 times now, and I think I've perfected what I'm doing with that now.
Practice makes perfect there.
And I'm really hoping that things change here in my state. I'm in Pennsylvania, so that I can do more that way to grow for my own use and to keep that level going in my body, because it is so expensive for me. I would say I probably spend about $150 to $200 a month.
Yeah.
And right now I can afford that, but I'd really love to be able to
Grow.
help myself, take care of myself that way.
Absolutely. And growing is just the easiest way to not only save money, but I don't know if you've seen a growing cannabis plant yet, but the opportunity to grow one is very magical and special
Oh, yeah.
and full circle. And so I hope that that is an option for you sooner. Well,
Yeah.
so soon.
Yeah.
It would be perfect.
My brother is in New York, and
Oh.
he dealt with insomnia and was going crazy. I've lived my whole life with insomnia. He called me up like, "What do you do about this insomnia? I can't live like this." And as a result of that use of medical marijuana, he started growing his own, which he's allowed to do there. And we've made gummies together.
Oh,
And so that
fun.
has helped him. But it's also taught me a lot about how to do that. And there's other sites that are just wonderful for instruction on how to grow and what to do with it and all. And I'm looking forward to doing a nice little thing for myself someday, you know?
Absolutely. Now, how have your relationships been with your husband and your kids and your brother now that you're feeling so well? Has it made a big difference?
Oh, it has made a difference. I live down on the same block with my daughter. I moved to Pennsylvania to be near her. She has little ones. And my husband is still working in New York. He's doing what he loves. You know, he's working in a men's drug recovery residential place.
Wow.
And he cooks for retreats there that they have there and works with the men in the program. So this work is so good for his heart as well. We're very connected to humanity and compassion and just doing things. So he's still there, but that's okay because we do see each other like twice a month. But he's doing what he loves and I'm doing what I love. And when we get together, it's just wonderful. We go on vacation or, you know, come here. And he just was here for the weekend for my hand surgery to help me out. And I'm going to him. He's going to have a reverse shoulder. So I'll help him out.
Oh my gosh. Now, may I ask a little bit about his job? Has there been any kind of friction with what he does in using cannabis, or is it, this is medical, there should be no issue?
Well, yeah, he doesn't use it and he hasn't even tried it yet. And I'm hoping that he will, especially now with the surgery coming up. But they do have strict rules there regarding that. And I mean, I think that helped add to my decision to move here. I bought a house for our family to come and be able to visit. It's about 8 hours from where we live. And then I just decided to move in here because I really needed the freedom of my life to go forward in this direction. And they're still of the mindset that cannabis could hurt, not help that environment. I don't agree with that because I see how much it's helped me. And just even in that, like, again, that thing about anxiety, not that I lived my whole life in anxiety. I did struggle with it though over the years. So he doesn't use it yet, I hope.
And it's like a tricky situation to navigate, though. I hope that it's easy for you guys as you move forward. But I mean, all in all, he just has to be so happy that his wife feels so much better.
Oh, he is. He is. Absolutely. And I've always been very independent, very strong, very, like, really very healthy and, you know, able to do. And so he's loved that about me. And so to see that happen again is wonderful. And for my kids too. Yeah. And the best thing is to have conversations with my 3 daughters and their husbands about my use of medical marijuana. I say, my mother's rolling over in her grave right now because this was taboo in our house.
Oh my God.
So I have this very open conversation with my daughters about it. And I do have one daughter that is completely following in the same path that I did. She, in her 30s, she got stricken with this pain condition, same as myself.
Oh no.
And, you know, so I'm just always hoping she'll have remission. And she does try to use medical marijuana as well. She has a card in New York. However, it's so expensive for them. She can't work. The life on Long Island is so hard. So Yeah. So we do what we can for each other.
How was that initial first conversation with them? Because a lot of people are scared to bring it up with their families. Were you scared to bring it up, or were they just like, we just want you to feel better?
No, I think they were so happy to see the results. Like my oldest daughter, I talked to all along because we were going through similar symptoms together.
Yeah.
But the other two, they were just so happy to see the improvement in my life. Because I mean, honestly, their idea was they had this mother that did everything, and I even went back to school in my 40s and for an engineering degree. So I was going to school the same time my oldest daughter was in college, you know. And so they had this mother that was like that, and then all of a sudden cut down, you know. Yeah. So yeah, they're very happy for me. Oh. And I mean, I could read, I can paint, I like to sew, I could do all of these things that I've been like so creative, and the medicines I was on actually cut that out of my life, you know.
Yeah. It's a common theme so many people bring up is we see these very obvious benefits from cannabis, from pain relief to anxiety relief, but then these little extra special things, increased creativity, increased exercise, these things we don't always necessarily think of that can be attributed back to cannabis. And it's just really magical to see everybody experiencing those together, because who would have thought that cannabis could enhance creativity in a way that brings so much joy to your life?
Exactly. Yes.
It's really, I love doing these interviews because everyone always has the same sentiment. And I love talking about it and just showcasing that when used responsibly, cannabis can impact your entire life and really increase the quality of your life as well.
Yeah, I share that every time I go into the dispensary. I like talk to the people that are helping me. This has changed my life. I'm always so excited about it because it really has. And I wish the stigma wasn't there with it, because it just can be so good for people. And doctors I know, especially on Long Island, are really coming around to the use of it. Like my hematologist, even her PA was training for certification in, you know, dispensing the medical marijuana cards and talking to people about how to use it and all. So I think that's really great when you have doctors that are trying to alleviate people's pain, and they know that this is a thing, you know, this could be a thing now. So
have you been open and honest with your doctors? Because I know a lot of people really struggle with that.
Yeah. Yes. And here it's not as accepted as much. I'm near the Pittsburgh area of Pennsylvania. And what I found was when I first met my new primary care doctor and talked to the clinician about what I do, she wrote drug use in my chart. And then when my doctor, you know, the next time I saw my doctor and I had seen that, I said, you know, you really need to correct this, because I'm not okay with you having drug user in
so proud of you.
In my medical report.
Yeah.
I use this medically. It is, I have a card for it. I consult with doctors over it. They're the ones that prescribed it for me. You cannot tell me I'm a drug user because of this. I've never used other drugs. And so this is medicine for me. And let's, you know, move forward that way. So he did take that off of there. My other doctors have asked, well, who prescribed it? So it's not about, are you doing this on your own? You know, and that's always a thing, right? With the medical community. And I have great respect and great regard for the medical community. How we went through what we've just gone through, and people are still willing to become nurses and doctors.
Gosh.
Goodness gracious. Yeah. So I do find that I do need to be careful of how I address it. It's not this open conversation. It's yes, a doctor did prescribe this for me. And along the way, a few doctors have prescribed it for me. And now I'm just continuing with what they have given me. And so that eases the conversation a little better. But yes, you have to be very tactful about it here.
Do they ever ask you if it makes you feel better? Like before they even ask like who prescribed it, do they ask if it helps or makes a difference?
Some of them, certain doctors could be very happy for me that I found that niche, because I still am limited in my day or the hours, say, of good in the day. So they know that and they see that. And other ones are very dismissive, like, well, I guess if that works for you, like that kind of dismissive thing. I love the way it's open conversation, though, with some of my neighbors and my family.
That was going to be my next question. In your personal life, do you feel comfortable discussing it with others?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I do. And yeah, I'm so thrilled to be here with you right now, because I feel like it's so important. Your work is so important. And the things you do for, to me, it's all about humanity. Yeah. Easing other people's pain, right? Yeah. So I just love that. It's like, get that word out there, and maybe in 5-10 years it won't be like this. I feel like I've kind of been a trailblazer my whole life in that sense, working in a man's field in construction, engineering, all of that, and now again, I think I'm still living that part of my life as I was meant to live, which is to be that trailblazer, or just different. Yeah.
It takes a lot of bravery and a lot of courage to be here doing this today. So thank you so much for being that trailblazer and sharing your story, because my hope is that somebody listening on the other end who struggles with chronic pain will hear your story, will try cannabis, see if it works for them, and God willing will change the outcome of their life. And so I thank you so much for being here and sharing that. And hopefully it reaches someone who really needs to hear it.
Yeah. I've been told before that I'm brave. I'm very courageous for the things that I've done in my life. And I like to tell people that I don't think it's about bravery or courage, but rather it's about love. When you go forward in life in love, there's this thing that happens with fear. It just kind of like dispels. Yeah. So part of that philosophy for my life has led me to Iraq during the ISIS crisis, either even by myself or with my husband. And I was going regularly until the COVID hit. So even with my disability, I was able to, I'm in pain here, I'm in pain there, but can I make a difference in someone else's life? And people would ask, well, weren't you afraid? I was never afraid. I went in love, and love just dispels all fear. Even if I'm anxious, I just think of something I love, someone I love, what I love to do, and anything. And I embrace that, and it just goes away.
Oh, that is beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. And I want to be respectful of your time. I have 4 questions that I ask all of my guests. Are you ready for them?
Yes.
All right. The first one, I mean, we kind of already touched on this a little bit, but what are you most proud of in your life?
In my life, so I would have said my 3 daughters, but and I'm very proud of them. In my life, I think it's being that overcomer in so many positions in life. Yeah. Meeting a challenge and seeing it through. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's perfect. A little bit different, of course. What do you think your life would look like today if you had never found cannabis?
Oh, I know what it would look like. It would be exactly how I lived for 3 or 4 years, in just managing pain all day, really being crippled by it and not being able to have joy in my life, reading, writing, just being around people. I'd have a friend that would pick me up once a month. We'd go to the stores. That was it. That's how I got out of the house. It was tough. And I know what that looks like. And I don't ever want to go back there again.
Oh, no. If you could go back 10, 20, 30 years ago and give yourself a little piece of advice regarding cannabis or not, what would it be?
Don't worry so much. It doesn't add to the situation. It only takes away, it robs you from the day. And so it's going to be okay. And I think that's probably one of my biggest things. And I think what's happened is that has led me to not living in fear, living in love. And the other thing is that not being judged, it opens the doors for so many other things. When I don't have to judge another person's, when I allow myself not to judge where another human is coming from, it opens the door for action, for love, for compassion, for just making a difference in people's lives. Yeah. I think that pretty much wraps it up.
That's beautiful. The very last question then is, if you could be remembered for one thing in the cannabis space, what would it be?
Encourage, like that she encouraged me, made a difference in my life. Yeah, I think that I added to someone's life through encouragement, compassion, and just love, I guess.
Well, I feel like we did that here today. I feel like my heart is warmed. I enjoyed this conversation so much. And I am so happy for you that you are in this beautiful space, spending time in Aruba, enjoying your husband and your kids. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Any last words of wisdom for our listeners?
I think I've said a lot. I have hope. Have hope. There's an answer out there, and just keep looking until you find it.
That is perfect. The perfect way to end this. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too. Be well.
All right.
Congratulations. You've finished another episode of the Well with Cannabis podcast and are one step closer to discovering how you too can live well with cannabis. Thank you for listening in today. We hope this episode has been a helpful and informative one. Please visit EmilyKyleNutrition.com for more information on today's show notes, guest information, recipes, and other resources. If you want more support and encouragement on your cannabis journey, please consider joining the private Well with Cannabis community. In this group, you can connect with like-minded individuals focused on improving their health and wellness through cannabis. Join the group today to continue your journey of wellness together at EmilyKyleNutrition.com.